duty. So custom duties, as we already knew that there is no any kind of duty on the export. Getting this, but there is some tax in addition to GST. As an importer, we have to pay. That is nothing but import duty, and this import duty is nothing but your custom duty. Custom duty means what? Some tax imposed on our imports, and those taxes are called as a custom duties. Whenever we will import goods or services from foreign country or foreign territories, at that time, in addition to GST, some tax I have to pay. That is nothing but custom duty. Now, this taking of custom duty or charging of custom duty is under the act, that is the Custom Act 1962. And along with this, there is one more act, that is the Custom Tariff Act 1972. By using these two acts, India can take or India can collect the custom duty. So collecting of tax, this is the authority or this is the right given by our constitution. Getting this? And no tax shall be levied without the rights. So we have right to collect the taxes on imports as well as on the, in the form of GSTs. So this custom duty consists of basic custom duty, countervailing duty, additional duty or special countervailing duty, then protective duty, and anti-dumping duty. All these forms of custom duties we had studied in the last lecture. Basic duty is the duty which is applicable to normal goods and services. Countervailing duty means what? If you are giving subsidies to the export, whatever subsidies you are giving, whatever are the subsidies you are providing on the export, the same you will charge in the form of import. Means what? Whatever is your loss you are suffering from, the same loss, same amount of compensation you will recover through the import. And if you are doing this, that is nothing but countervailing. So with respect to certain products like tobacco, like other cigarette products or tobacco products or any like prohibited products, on which if you want to import such kind of products, at that time, with respect to your basic custom duty, you have to pay some additional duties. So this, the products on which additional duty is applicable, which is mentioned under Custom Tariff Act 1972. So those products which comes under special products, which will be liable to pay basic custom duty along with additional duty. Then protective duty. Protective duty is the duty which will be charged. The protective duty is the duty which will be charged to protect the interest of the businessman, which are to protect the interest or the business of domestic players. Whenever we are importing goods from foreign country, at that time, businesses of domestic manufacturer, they will collapse or profit will go down. At that time, to protect their businesses, we are also charging some heavy tax on the imports. That is something about protective duty. Then we had studied about the anti-dumping duty. Anti-dumping duty means what? If there is the huge competition, if there is the huge competition in foreign territories and there is excess of supply into the foreign territories, at that time, to remove this competition as well as to reduce the supply of foreign territories, foreign companies may export goods and services and at lower prices in other countries. At that time, what we are doing as an India, we are doing the dumping, or foreign companies are, foreign businesses or foreign countries are dumping their products, dumps their goods and services into our India. At that time, we will charge anti-dumping duties, so that we will charge this duty at a higher proportion, due to which what will happen, they will not dump their product, or as a manufacturer or as a importer of India, we will not get dumped this kind of product. That is something about anti-dumping duty. So this is these are the various elements of custom duty that will be charged on the products, on the goods. Getting this? That so this we had studied in the last lecture. Then we had seen the basic custom duty. It varies from 5% to 40%. Then the duty is fixed as the specific rate of ad valorem basis. Ad valorem basis means what? Duty will be charged on the weight or quantity or packages. Getting this? On the basis of this, duty will be charged 5% on one package or on the basis of the amounts. That is something about basic ad valorem duties. Then we had studied about the countervailing, additional, anti-dumping duties. Then we have one more duty, that is the national calamity contingent duty. Means what? If we are importing goods from other country, at that time certain goods may be hazardous or certain goods may be dangerous to our countries. So by importing excess of such kind of goods, India can find certain times. So in India can find certain calamities in the future. अगर उसी टाइप के प्रोडक्ट्स हम लोगों ने बार बार इंपोर्ट करने से नेचुरल कैलामिटी आ सकती है. Getting this? To protect from these natural calamities, we will also charge some duty. Then education says on custom duty. Custom duty means what? Rate which will be paying on the import. For example, 40% हम लोग भर रहे हैं, 40 रुपए पे कर रहे हैं. So this is the custom duty. Rate of custom duty is 40 rupees, for example, in which we will add education says. Says यानी tax on tax. Says यानी tax on tax. How much tax we are paying? 40%. So 40% का again, for example, 1%. That is education says. So 40% का 1% कितना हो गया? For example, 40 पैसे. So total tax becomes 40 rupees plus 40 paise. That is the 40 rupees 40 paise. So 40 paise is the education sales. This is tax on tax. 1% of this actual import duty. 2% of the actual import duty you are going to pay. That is something about education sales. Education sales. So these are the elements of custom duty that we had seen in the last lecture. Then we can also charge the protective duty to protect the interest of Indian industries. We will charge. Then let us go through the import process. अब import procedure क्या है? If I want to import goods from foreign territories, at that time what process I have to follow? That we are studying over here. So first one is that if you want to decide, if you have decided to import goods or services from foreign territories, at that time, first is that I should, as an importer, I should have to obtain import export code number. So I have to get the import export code number from the regional joint directorate general of foreign trade, who is taking care of this import and export process, from whom I have to take import export code number, which will give the identification to me as an importer. Getting this? So I have to register and I have to take this code. Once I got I register with this Directorate General of Foreign Trade. At that time, if I am importing goods or services, or if I am exporting the goods and services, so this is the permission we will get. And once we will get the permission, at that time we will get this import export code number. So IEC, that is the import export code number, is the PAN based registration. On the basis of your PAN number is required of a trader with lifetime validity, and it has a lifetime. Once you got this import export code number, you will be having wide validity of lifetime. This is what again and again there is no need for separate registration or separate renewal for it. Once you have got this number, it has a lifetime validity and is required for clearing customs. And why it is required, this number? Which number? Import export code number is required at the time of clearing the customs. Custom duty pay karte samay I have to pay this custom duty through this number. as well as whenever you are going to send the materials, whenever you are going to export materials through shift, at that time, without this export import code number, material we can't send. As well as sending or receiving money from foreign currencies. Foreign currencies से जब transaction लेंगे तब at that time you should have this valid code number. Without this transaction does not happen. And the process to obtain IEC registration takes about 10 to 15 days. Once you apply for this IEC code, then within 10 to 15 days, you will get this IEC certificate or IEC registration number, which is required for importers as well as exporter. Getting this? And this why it is required? It is required to clear your customs. In case of export duty, export is zero rated. Getting this? So in case of clearing your customs to send the material through ships or receiving or sending money to the foreign territories at that time, without this it can't happen. And once you are registered for this, you will get this registration certificate or registration number within 10 to 15 days. Then second one is that under import process, once you got this registration number, then you should have to ensure that whatever are the legal compliances or legal formalities which are to be followed at the time of importing of goods and services, you should have to follow, which are available under different trade law. हर कोई लॉ की वजह से जो कुछ फॉर्मेलिटीज रहेगा इंपोर्ट के, all these formalities I have to follow. Getting this? Once the IEC is allotted, IEC and import export code number, business may import goods that are compliant with Section 11 of the Custom Act 1962 or Foreign Trade Development Regulation Act 1992 and the Foreign Trade Policy 2015-20. So with respect to these various tariffs, or with respect to these various acts, whatever are the legal compliance process are there, which I have to follow whenever I wanted to import the goods. So at that time, I should have to go through the Custom Tariff Act 1962, Custom Act 1962, then Foreign Trade Act 1992 and Foreign Trade Policy 2015-20. So I have to follow all these acts in which custom process is mentioned or custom procedure is mentioned. So I have to follow this. However, certain items, that is the restricted items or prohibited items, as declared and notified by the government, require additional permission. If you are importing such kind of special items, restricted items or prohibited items, at that time you have to take additional permission and you have to take the additional license of that import from Directorate General of the Foreign Trade and federal government. So federal government means what? Of your respective government, you have to take its permission. In case of if you are importing restricted and prohibited goods and services, at that time you have to take this. So this is the second step. पहला तो आपका रजिस्ट्रेशन होना चाहिए. एक बार रजिस्ट्रेशन हो गया तो before importing goods and services or before paying the custom duty, you have to follow all the rules and regulations, all the acts. तो पहला एक्ट है 1962 कस्टम एक्ट 1962, दूसरा एक्ट है फॉरेन ट्रेड एक्ट 1992 और तीसरा एक्ट है फॉरेन ट्रेड पॉलिसी 2015-20. So these three acts I have to follow. And in case of restricted items or prohibited items, I need to take the special provision or permission from Directorate General of the Foreign Trade. So this is the second step. पहला IEC लेना है, दूसरा सारे legal compliances करना पड़ेगा. Third step is the procure import license. Here to determine whether a license is needed to import a particular commercial product or services, an importer must first classify the item by identifying its Indian trading classification based on the harmonized system of coding. Means what kind of product you are importing and whether this product requires permission, requires importing license or not, that you should have to identify. Some of the times it may happen that you will be importing such a goods or such a services where custom duty will be nil. Getting this? So we have to find the category of my goods, okay, on which whether import duty is applicable or not. If import duty is applicable, at that time I have to go for license, import license. So without having import license, I can't get the product. I can't start the business of import. I can't import the goods and services. Okay. And import license may be either a general license or specific license. So it depends upon your nature of product, what kind of product you are importing, whether your product is a general product or a specific product. Accordingly, you will get this import license. Now, under general license, goods can be imported from any country. अगर जनरल लाइसेंस है तो कोई भी कंट्री से हम लोग गुड्स क्या कर सकते हैं, इंपोर्ट कर सकते हैं. एंड स्पेसिफिक इंडिविजुअल लाइसेंस रहेगा तो so license authorize import only for the specific country. Means what, this will be not allowed to import goods and services from Pakistan. Getting this? So specific countries or specific goods will be mentioned. And if we are, if you want to import goods and services from such, you know, such country, at that time you have to take the special license. So third is the first one was आईसी लेना है, दूसरा लीगल फॉर्मेलिटीज कंप्लीट करना है, तीसरा इंपोर्ट लाइसेंस आपके पास होना चाहिए. विदाउट दिस यू कांट गो फॉर इंपोर्ट द गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज. Third one is the file bill of entry or other document to complete custom clearing formalities. So whenever you are going to import the goods, at that time you should have a bill of entry. Bill of entry means what? So after obtaining import license, importers are required to furnish the import declaration in a prescribed bill of entry. So this is the one of the form which I need to fill at the time of importing the goods, in which description of entire goods, quantity कितना है, rate कितना है, valuation कितना है, then उसके details क्या है, सब कुछ हम लोगों ने bill of entry में भरा हुआ है. So that I should have to obtain, and in which again I need to mention my permanent account. So bill of entry gives the information on the exact nature, precise quantity and value of goods that have been landed or entered inwards the country. जो goods and goods land हुए हैं कंट्री में, हमारे कंट्री में जो goods हम लोगों ने इनवर्ड किए हैं उसकी जो कॉपी होती है, that is nothing but bill of entry that I should have to prepare. And without making this bill of entry, I can't import, I can't get the possession of these goods. If the goods are cleared through the electronic data interchange, यानी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सिस्टम से अगर क्लियर होते हैं, ऑनलाइन क्लियर होते हैं, तो नो फॉर्मल बिल ऑफ एंट्री इज फाइल्ड. तो बिल ऑफ एंट्री आपका मैनुअल नहीं रहेगा in that case. So at that time, computer generated system will be also allowed. Computer generated receipt will be also allowed. The importer must file cargo declaration. Cargo यानी जो the way, the mode of transportation, what kind of mode of transportation you have used, whether it will be through ship or through air, कैसे आया उसका जो declaration है, that also we have to submit or you have to present at the time of custom clearance. कोई भी कस्टम क्लियरेंस लेने के लिए, प्रोडक्ट इंडिया में अलाउ करने के लिए आपके पास कार्गो का डिक्लेरेशन रहेगा या आपके पास बिल ऑफ एंट्री रहेगा. सो ये सारे स्टेटमेंट आपको एट द टाइम ऑफ इंपोर्टिंग और एट द टाइम ऑफ टेकिंग पोजीशन ऑफ द गुड्स वी शुड हैव टू सबमिट. कार्गो इज नथिंग बट वे ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन और मोड ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन. Getting this? So this is the fourth stage where you have to file bill of entry and other related documents to complete the custom clearing formalities. Okay. Now, if the bill of entry is filed without using EDI system, yani electronic data interface system, the importer is required to submit supporting documents. अगर ये EID की विदाउट EID अगर हम लोग बिल ऑफ एंट्री फाइल करते हैं, at that time supporting documents may be required. So for example, certificate of origin, यानी origin or which is the origin country of the goods that I have to submit certificate. Then certificate of inspection of goods and services. Goods have been inspected, चेक किया है, वेरिफिकेशन किया, उसका भी सर्टिफिकेट होना चाहिए. देन बिल ऑफ एक्सचेंज, एनी काइंड ऑफ बिल ऑफ एक्सचेंज. बिल ऑफ एक्सचेंज यानी उसका पेमेंट टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस और उसका जो प्रूफ रहेगा, that should be there, as well as how you are going to make the payment. And commercial invoice cum packaging list. ये सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स आप लोग को क्या करना पड़ेगा, यू हैव टू सबमिट एट द टाइम ऑफ टेकिंग क्लियरेंस ऑफ द गुड्स. गुड्स का एक्सेप्टेंस लेते समय, पोजेशन लेते समय, आई हैव टू सबमिट दिस डॉक्यूमेंट्स टुवर्ड्स दिस कमिश्नर ऑफ दिस कस्टम ड्यूटी. कमिश्नर क्या करेगा, द अथॉरिटी विल गो थ्रू दिस एंटायर डॉक्यूमेंट्स एंड देन दे विल डिसाइड कि हाउ मच custom duty will be charged. Getting this? So the rate of duty will be decided on the basis of these various documents. Once the goods are shipped, the custom official examine and assess the information furnished in the bill of entry. एक बार goods shift हो गए या ship में हम लोगों ने डाल दिए, तो custom officer at the time of movement of these goods from one country to other country, at that time this custom officer वो क्या करेगा, जो जहाज पे जाके वो सारे बिल ऑफ एंट्री, उसके वैल्यू, जो कुछ पर्टिकुलर जितने भी उसके डिस्क्रिप्शन हो रहेंगे वो सारे चेक करेगा. इफ देर आर नो इरेगुलरिटीज, अगर उसमें कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं लगती है किसको, कस्टम ऑफिसर को, एट दैट टाइम दिस ऑफिशियल कस्टम ऑफिसर और कमिश्नर ऑफ कस्टम ऑफिस, he will issue the pass out order or pass out notice. Pass out यानी permission दिया जाए, that allows the imported goods to be replaced from the customs. So at that time from custom duty से, custom offices से पहले क्या जो हो जाएगा, जब हम लोग goods इंडिया में लाएंगे, at that time first possession will be taken by the import officer or custom officer. Custom officer पहले उसके ऊपर कब्जा करेगा. He will go through the entire details of these products, specification, bill of exchange क्या है, shipment bill देखेगा, उसके बाद certificate of origin देखेगा, उसका rate देखेगा और उसके under whether it is the specific product है या normal product, ये सारे देखेगा. When he feel that each and everything is correct, at that time he will give the pass out order. When you get the pass out order at that time, at that time you will get the possession, you will get the ownership, and at that time you can move this product into your country. So this is how the process is. Okay, so this is something about bill of entry. So bill of entry देख के क्या हो जाएगा, मुझे pass out order मिल जाएगा. Pass out order is the permission or it is the approval given by the commissioner of custom. Getting this? The next is the determine import duty. Once he approves the goods and services, at that time he will look towards the import duty. कितना रेट उसके ऊपर बिठाना है, कौन से प्रोडक्ट है उसके कितना रेट ऑफ इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी चेंजेस फ्रॉम 4% to 40%, 4% से 40% तक उसका इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी का रेट चलता है. तो कितना चार्ज लगाने का, दिस विल बी डिसाइडेड बाय द कमिश्नर ऑफ इंपोर्ट. सो ही विल डिसाइड द इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी रेट ऑन द क्लियरेंस ऑफ द गुड्स. अगर वही गुड्स अगर आपको क्लियर करके अंदर लेना है तो आपको इतना इतना टैक्स, इतना import duty बनेगा. So this import duty consists of basic custom duty on imported goods. Then it will be also part of anti-dumping duty, safeguard duty, or social welfare charges. So also some of the whatever the various types of duties we have seen in the previous lecture, some of the types, for example, basic custom duty will be charged, anti-dumping duty will be charged, safeguard duty will be, that is the protective duty will be charged, then ad valorem duty will be also charged. So it depends upon the nature of goods and it depends upon in which category this goods comes. So accordingly, this import duty will be required, import duty will be charged, and by paying this import duty, you can get the clearance of this product. In addition to, try to understand, in addition to this import duty, you have to pay IGST as well. आपको IGST import duty तो भरना ही भरना है, लेकिन with respect to this import duty, you have to pay the IGST, whatever is the tax, GST tax rate, which is defined by the central government, that also you have to pay. So means what? Here, in case of importing goods and services from one country to other country, at that time I have to pay two types of taxes. One is import duty or custom duty, and second is the IGST, that is the integrated GST, that also I have to pay. Okay, now the GST rate depends upon the classification of imported goods. तो imported goods के ऊपर का GST rate कितना लगेगा, that is already mentioned, and it depends upon your nature of product, and accordingly you have to pay this GST rate. तो ध्यान में इतना ही रखिए कि इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी भरते समय मुझे जीएसटी भी भरना है. कौन सा जीएसटी भरना है? सीजीएसटी नहीं भरना है, एसजीएसटी नहीं भरना है, मुझे आईजीएसटी भरना है. Getting this? So this is the fifth process or fifth step at the time of importing goods and services. So this is about the import process. Do you have any doubt with respect to these 5 steps? So first step is related to getting the import export code number. Second one is that legal compliances follow karna hai. You can't break any kind of rules and regulation, otherwise goods will be got confiscated. Okay, confiscation nahi hona chahiye. Third one is the import process license आपके पास होने चाहिए. Fourth is bill of entry होना चाहिए, और पांचवा काम हम लोगों को क्या करना है? Import duty भरना है. So these are the various process, or these are the various stages at the time of importing goods and services. Do you have any doubt with respect to this import process?
No, sir.
Okay, so let us go for export process. अभी हम लोगों ने पहले ही बोला है, क्या बोला है कि एक्सपोर्ट प्रोसेस जो होती है, एक्सपोर्ट देयर विल बी सर्टेन रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन, बट एक्सपोर्ट इज जीरो रेटेड, उसके ऊपर कुछ भी एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी नहीं लगता है. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी सिर्फ लगता है, एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी कुछ भी नहीं लगता है. बट provided that whenever you are going to export goods and services into towards other country, at that time I have to go through the certain process, or I have to go through certain procedures. Okay, so see here also, if you want to do the export of goods and services, here also you have to have a IEC code number, that is the import export code number. आपको इंपोर्टिंग, अगर आप लोग इंपोर्ट करते हैं गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज, दैट टाइम आल्सो इट इज रिक्वायर्ड. अगर आप लोग एक्सपोर्ट भी करना चाहते हैं, तभी भी आपको इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट कोड नंबर लेना जरूरी है, एंड इट इज टैक्स बेस्ड सिस्टम है. सो अगेन सेम अप्रोक्सीमेट सेम प्रोसेस इज देयर. पहले तो आपके पास होना चाहिए, क्या होना चाहिए? इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट कोड नंबर होना चाहिए, इट इज पैन बेस्ड रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर. Along with this, once we obtain the IEC certificate, then exporter needs to ensure that all legal compliances are met with under different trade laws. So whatever are the existing laws are there, whatever are the existing trade practices are there, we have to follow this at the time of exporting the goods. So, दूसरा, legal formalities, legal compliances आपको करना है. Third is that exporter must check if an export license is required or not. अगर आपको, अगर again it depends upon your nature of goods, कौन से टाइप का गुड्स हम लोग एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं, accordingly on specific goods you need export license. So if it is required, then you have to take this export license. Okay, third, exporter is also required to register with Indian Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce को as a exporter I have to register, which issues non-preferential certificate of origin, certifying that exported goods are originated in India. Whenever we will be exporting the goods and services, at that time I have to submit this certificate as well. क्योंकि हम लोगों ने इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी के में भी देखा है कि ओरिजिनल सप्लाई ऑफ ओरिजिन कहाँ का है, सॉरी ओरिजिन ऑफ सप्लाई कौन सी कंट्री का है, वो जैसे कि इंपोर्टिंग गुड्स लगता है एट द सेम इन द सेम मैनर। जब मैं कोई भी गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज बाहर बेचता हूँ, एट दैट टाइम द कंट्री हु इज importing my goods, they will also ask us this original supply, origin of supply। तो ये डॉक्यूमेंट भी मुझे तैयार रखना चाहिए। पहला चीज आईईसी सर्टिफिकेट होना चाहिए, लीगल कंप्लायंसेस करना है। अगर एक्सपोर्ट लाइसेंस रहेगा स्पेसिफिक गुड्स का, दैट टाइम यू हैव टू टेक दिस, एज वेल एज यू हैव टू रजिस्टर विद इंडियन चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स। वो होने के बाद आप लोगों को क्या करना है, इंडियन चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स क्या देता है आपको, सर्टिफिकेट देता है। कौन सा सर्टिफिकेट की ओरिजिन कौन सा है, द गुड्स व्हिच यू आर एक्सपोर्टिंग उसका ओरिजिन कौन सा कंट्री है, उसका सर्टिफिकेट आपको इंडियन चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स से मिलता है। एंड दिस डॉक्यूमेंट इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द फॉरेन कंट्रीज, फॉरेन बिजनेसेस हु आर इंपोर्टिंग आवर गुड्स। जिस कंट्री में हमारा माल जा रहा है उसी कंट्री में वो फॉर्मेलिटी, वो सर्टिफिकेट मैंडेटरी है, विदाउट विच हाउ दे कैन आइडेंटिफाई कि कौन से कंट्री से माल आया है। तो कंट्री कौन से कंट्री से माल आया है, उसका ओरिजिन कौन सा है, ये जानने के लिए हमारे पास ये सर्टिफिकेट होना जरूरी है। एंड आई हैव टू सबमिट दिस सर्टिफिकेट एट द टाइम ऑफ एक्सपोर्टिंग दिस गुड्स। नाउ नेक्स्ट, सो दिस इज समथिंग अबाउट इंपोर्ट एंड एक्सपोर्ट प्रोसेस। पहला क्या करना है, एक्सपोर्ट में आईईसी लाइसेंस होना चाहिए, लीगल कंप्लायंस करना है और एक्सपोर्ट लाइसेंस लेना है, और आपको रजिस्ट्रेशन होना चाहिए किसका, इंडियन चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स। अभी देखिए, जस्ट गो थ्रू दिस इंपोर्ट एंड एक्सपोर्ट डॉक्यूमेंट्स कौन से लगते हैं। जस्ट गो थ्रू दिस स्लाइड। सो दिस इज अबाउट द इंपोर्ट एंड एक्सपोर्ट डॉक्यूमेंट्स रिक्वायर्ड। जस्ट गो थ्रू दिस स्लाइड, देन वी विल एक्सप्लेन। Okay, see here now. What are the import and export documents are required at the time of importing goods and services, or at the time of exporting goods and services? So it requires two types of documents. One is called as a commercial documents and second is the regulatory document. Commercial documents means what? It is your bill of that particular export का जो bill रहता है. So that is the bill. If that bill consists of details of your product, कितना क्वांटिटी है, कितना रेट लगाया, कितना वैल्यू हो गया, ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू कितना हो गया उसी प्रोडक्ट का, गेटिंग दिस। सो व्हाट इज द डील इन बिटवीन बायर एंड सेलर, तो इसका सारा स्टेटमेंट आपका बिल ऑफ एंट्री में। सो दिस इज समथिंग अबाउट कमर्शियल डॉक्यूमेंट व्हिच इज साइंड बाय टू पार्टीज, दो पार्टीज से बायर एंड सेलर ने एग्रीमेंट किया हुआ स्टेटमेंट और वो बिल, उसका कॉपी मुझे लगेगा at the time of importing or exporting goods. Second, along with this, you have certain regulatory documents. Regulatory यानी regulation related documents that deal with various regulatory authorities. हर एक कुछ regulatory authority ने issue किया हुआ document मुझे carry करना जरूरी है. So, for example, the document which is given by the regulatory authorities such as customs और एक्साइज लाइसेंसिंग अथॉरिटी, तो इन्होंने यार एक्सपोर्ट प्रमोशन बॉडी ने दिए हुए एक्सपोर्ट जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स ले रहेंगे, these all documents comes under regulatory documents. ये सारे documents as well as your commercial documents we have to submit or we have to carry at the time of import or export. Without documents, the goods will be not allowed to pass from foreign boundaries towards foreign boundary or from foreign boundary. Getting this? So these documents will be mandatory. Then along with this, we should have bill of loading और एयरवे बिल यानी कार्गो बिल आपको जो लगेगा, that will be also required. Then commercial invoice or bill of that is the bill, commercial invoice और packing list आपकी वो भी आपके पास होना चाहिए. Then shipping bill or bill of export or bill of entry, that will be also required. Then inspection certificate given by the custom officer of respective country, that is also required. Then if you have paid IGST, at that time this GSTR certificate is also required. Okay, that is GSTR1, GSTR2, that also required. Then in case of any kind of refund forms with respect to GST, because rates of GST are also going to change, so in case of any GST form you should have to also carry this. Then bank realization certificate in case of transfer of the goods and services, and registration cum membership certificate. So these are the various documents as a businessman, as an importer or as an exporter we have to carry. So first is that we require some of the commercial documents and some of the regulatory documents. Along with this, we have to carry GSTR1, GSTR2 or GST return form if applicable. So these are the various documents required. Okay. Along with this, we should have a custom value evaluation, which a custom procedure applied to determine the custom value of imported goods. आपके पास transaction value calculation किया हुआ documents आपके पास होना चाहिए. Getting this? So these are the certain documents which we have to follow. So abhi, whenever you are going to charge import duty, at that time first you should know the value of that goods. अगर गुड्स की वैल्यू पता नहीं है, गुड्स की वैल्यू अगर पता नहीं तो उसका 40% कैसे कैलकुलेट करेंगे? फर्स्ट आई शुड नो द वैल्यू ऑफ गुड्स इज 400, तो उसका 40% हम लोग ऐड कर सकते हैं. बट हाउ टू डिसाइड द वैल्यू ऑफ गुड्स? So value of goods will be decided on the basis of transaction value. Transaction value is what? This is the value at which, or the transaction value is the value at which two unrelated parties are doing the deal or taking the deals. यानी दो पार्टीज एक दूसरे के रिलेटिव्स नहीं है, दो पार्टीज एक दूसरे के साथ कुछ कॉम्पेंसेशन नहीं दे रहे. टू अनरिलेटेड पार्टीज अगर एक जगह पे आते हैं, व्हेन दे ट्राई टू टेक द डील, एट दैट टाइम how they negotiate the price and how they finalize the price, that is nothing but transactional value. Transaction value is the actual value at which we will be selling the goods and services into fair market. Fair market में हम लोग जिस रेट को, जिस कीमत को हम लोग माल बेचते हैं, वही प्राइस को हम लोग क्या बोलेंगे? ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू. And goods should be imported at a transaction value, not at subsidized rate, not at any other rate. So I have to find the real rate or fair value of that product. That is something about transaction. Clear everybody? Transaction value क्या है कि जो unrelated party, जो अगर buyer and seller एक दूसरे के साथ दूसरा along with this दूसरा कुछ भी इंटरेस्ट नहीं है और वो डील करना चाहते हैं, fair market value of the product, that is something about, in short, fair market value of product is called as the transaction value. Okay. अभी देखिए transaction value of imported goods and transaction value of exported goods कैसे डिसाइड करते हैं. Okay, so see the transaction value of exported goods or export goods. The transaction value shall be अब प्राइस एक्चुअली पेड, कितना पैसा हम लोग देने वाले हैं या पेड किया हुआ, और पेएबल फॉर द गुड्स व्हेन सोल्ड फॉर एक्सपोर्ट फ्रॉम द इंडिया। एक्सपोर्ट के लिए अगर हम लोग सेल करते हैं, एट दैट टाइम हाउ मच एक्चुअल वैल्यू वी आर पेइंग और वी हैव टू पे और वी आर गोइंग टू रिसीव फॉर द डिलीवरी एट द टाइम ऑफ प्लेस ऑफ एक्सपोर्टेशन। डिलीवरी होने के बाद माल एक्सचेंज होने के टाइम पे जो प्राइस हम लोग एक दूसरे का एक्सचेंज करेंगे, दैट इज समथिंग अबाउट transaction value at the import. At the time and place of the exportation, where buyer and seller of goods are not related and price is a sole consideration for the sale. So along with these prices, we are not considering any non-monetary benefit attached with this price. So whatever the price is the fair price of the product, we will charge as a fair price as a transaction value on the export. Then transaction value on the import of the goods. The transaction value shall be a price actually paid. Same है. The transaction value is the price actually paid or payable for the goods when sold for export to India. इंडिया को एक्सपोर्ट होके आ रहे हैं, यानी इंडिया में इंपोर्ट हो रहे हैं फॉर द डिलीवरी एट द टाइम एंड प्लेस ऑफ इंपोर्टेशन। कब का वैल्यू? एट द टाइम ऑफ प्लेस ऑफ द इंपोर्टेशन, जब कभी वो इंपोर्ट हो जाएगी ऑन द सेम डे, where the buyer and seller of the goods are not related। एक दूसरे के कोई पहचान का नहीं, एक दूसरे सब्सिडीज कंपनी नहीं है, एक दूसरे का सिमिलर कंपनी से बाय एंड इंपोर्ट नहीं हो रहा है। एट दैट टाइम whatever is the fair price or whatever is the real price of this for sole consideration, this will be considered as a transaction value। इसका मतलब उसमें कुछ हिडन चार्जेस नहीं है, फेयर मार्केट में जिसकी वो वैल्यू है वही वैल्यू हम लोग कंसिडर करेंगे, एंड दैट वैल्यू इज नथिंग बट ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू। ओके, नाउ along with this transaction value, we can have certain amount of cost we will add into the add into this transaction value, and we will finalize the value. For example, in case of commission brokerage, which we have paid on this for acquiring goods and services, at that time this will be added into the transaction value. Then any kind of engineering extra कुछ हम लोग activity करके लेते हैं, so this extra charge will be also considered in the transaction value. Then any kind of design work you are getting along with these goods, that will be also added. Then any kind of royalties and license fees we will add in the transaction value. Then cost from transportation is also part of transaction value. Then any kind of insurance amount we have paid on goods and services, loading charges, unloading charges, handling charges, we will add this value in the transaction value. We will add in the final value and we will decide the transaction. Try to understand transaction value यानी buyer and suppliers are not relative. Then both buyer and suppliers are not from a single organization, अलग अलग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, और वो रियल मार्केट वैल्यू प्रोडक्ट के जितने भी है वही हम लोग कंसिडर करेंगे। उसमें कमीशन ऐड हो सकता है, ब्रोकरेज ऐड हो सकता है, इंजीनियरिंग वर्क, डिजाइन वर्क, रॉयल्टीज, लाइसेंस फीस, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट, इंश्योरेंस अमाउंट, loading amount, unloading amount, and handling charges we will add there. So this is the transaction value. So goods and services will be imported or exported at transaction value. Getting this? Understood what is meant by transaction value? Yes, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us go for penalty for violation of statutory provision. 1 minute. अभी देखिए, what we had seen, whenever we are importing goods and services, at that time what I have to do, I have to follow the legal formalities. Though your products are zero rated, but you have to follow, you have to go through the certain process. अगर मान लो, if I hide certain process or if I skip certain process, or if I use certain shortcut, at that time you will be penalized. Getting this? So there are two types of penalties. First one is the criminal penalty, and one more penalty is there with respect to your termination of your like license. Now, if any importer is violating the laws or statutory provisions, at that time he will be liable for criminal penalty. अभी criminal penalty क्या है देखिए. So here this person will be stand or person will be forced to stand in front of criminal court. Okay, after the prosecution. Prosecution यानी एक बार वो क्या बोलते हैं उसको डिक्लेयर किया क्या कि वो गुनेगार, समझ समझ रही है. अगर एक बार आपको गुनेगार ऐसा साबित किया तो आपको क्रिमिनल लाइबिलिटी पेमेंट करना जरूरी है. गुनेगार मीन्स व्हाट, यू आर once it is proved that you have done this crime by the criminal code. Okay, so criminal punishment is the custody and fine. एक तो आपको कस्टडी मिल जाएगी या जेल की सजा बोलते हैं उसको, कस्टडी, that is the jail, along with fine. Means what, you have to pay certain fine along with your custody. आपके कुछ कस्टडी हो जाएगी, which can be granted only in a criminal court after prosecution. Prosecution यानी एक बार गुनेगार, गुना जो बोलते हैं ना, आपने अगर कुछ मिस्टेक की गई, at that time it will be considered as a criminal. So once whatever is the punishment given by the criminal court after prosecution, prosecution यानी जब गुना साबित हुआ तब के बाद वाला ये criminal punishment. Both penalty and punishment can be imposed on the same offense once it is proven that you have done the offense. आपने गुनाह किया है, अगर ये गुनाह क्लियर हुआ, क्लियर यानी क्या बोलते हैं उसको, उसको बोलते हैं फिक्स हुआ कि आपने परमानेंटली गुनाह किया है या ऑफेंस किया है, एट दैट टाइम you have to go or you have to face the criminal court, and whatever is the punishment and whatever is the penalty charged by this criminal court, you have to pay this. Penalties are imposed on the person who in relation to any goods does or omits to do any act which renders such goods liable for confiscation. Confiscation यानी जब्त करते, जब्ती बोलते हैं ना. तो अगर penalty and penalties are imposed on the person who are in relation to goods, जो goods के साथ व्यवहार करता है, goods का transaction करता है, goods import करता है, अगर उन्होंने गुड्स लेते समय अगर कुछ रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन ब्रेक किए, इसका मतलब टैक्स इवेजन किया, कुछ गुड्स का बिल ऑफ स्टेटमेंट नहीं है, कुछ प्रोहिबिटेड गुड्स हम लोग ला रहे हैं, कुछ स्पेसिफिक गुड्स ला रहे हैं, एंड वी आर नॉट फॉलोइंग द रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन, एट दैट टाइम दिस गुड्स विल बी गॉट कॉन्फिस्केशन. कॉन्फिस्केशन यानी उसको जब्त, गवर्नमेंट उसको जब्ती लाता है उसके ऊपर. मीन्स व्हाट, ओनरशिप विल बी गिवन टुवर्ड्स द गवर्नमेंट, गवर्नमेंट उसके ऊपर खुद का कब्जा दिखाता है, उसको बोलते हैं कॉन्फिस्केशन. ओके, तो पहला तो चीज ये है कि पेनल्टी एंड पनिशमेंट विल बी चार्ज बाय द क्रिमिनल कोर्ट. सेकंड चीज ये भी हो सकता है कि गवर्नमेंट विल शो द राइट ऑन दिस प्रोडक्ट, गवर्नमेंट जब्ती करेगा उसी प्रोडक्ट. थर्ड, हेंस इट इज नेसेसरी टू फर्स्ट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर द गुड्स लायबल फॉर कॉन्फिस्केशन. कौन से गुड्स ऐसे होते हैं कि जिसका डायरेक्टली कॉन्फिस्केशन होता है, उसका कुछ बाकी होता नहीं. कॉन्फिस्केशन है गुड्स जब्त करते हैं. ओके, the goods are liable for confiscation in case of improperly importing goods. Proper procedure follow करके हम लोग goods import नहीं कर रहे हैं, और improperly attempting to export the goods. Goods import export करते समय proper procedure अगर follow नहीं होती है, at that time the goods will be confiscated. Confiscation यानी क्या है कि गुड्स का जब्ती हो जाएगा. मीन्स व्हाट, गवर्नमेंट विल शो द ओनरशिप ऑन दिस गुड्स, you will be not allowed to टेक और इम्पोर्ट गुड्स फर्दर, ओनरशिप आपके पास नहीं आएगा, दैट इज कन्फिस्केशन. Goods are liable for confiscation in case of improperly importing goods or improperly attempting to export of goods. Section 113 contains details of goods liable for confiscation. तो कौन से goods confiscation होते हैं वो सब कुछ कस्टम एक्ट 1962 में मेंशन किया है अंडर सेक्शन 113 एंड इम्प्रॉपर एक्सपोर्ट के बारे में. सो दिस इज द पेनल्टीज. एंड अभी इम्प्रॉपर गुड्स किसको बोलते हैं ये हम लोग नेक्स्ट लेक्चर को देखें. स्टूडेंट्स, विद इन नेक्स्ट 2 lectures we will finish entire syllabus. Within next 2 lectures we will finish entire syllabus. अभी आज हम लोगों ने रेट्स ऑफ इंपोर्ट ड्यूटीज देखा, प्रोसेस ऑफ इंपोर्ट ड्यूटीज देखा और उसके बाद हम लोगों ने पेनल्टी देखा. अभी पेनल्टी के बारे में, कॉन्फिस्केशन किसका किसका कौन से गुड्स का होते हैं, इम्प्रॉपर गुड्स किसको बोलते हैं, प्रोहिबिटेड गुड्स किसको बोलते हैं, इम्प्रॉपर एक्सपोर्ट किसको बोलते हैं, इम्प्रॉपर इंपोर्ट्स किसको बोलते हैं और पेनल्टी के रेट क्या होते हैं, ये हम लोग नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में देखेंगे. ओके, सो दैट्स इट फॉर टुडेज लेक्चर. सी यू टुमारो एट 8 PM. ओके,
Okay, thank you.
यस
Thank you, sir.
यस, बाय.